So life is quite miserable for a lot of people. There's a lot of misery about the place, and a lot of pain. But anyway, so I said, you know what? I have a little bit, a tiny amount of time free. Why not, try and have something that's good, but still educational on the bad things. So you might know the fascist Nigel Farage, who wanted to leave the EU so he could be a little Nazi. Anyway, so the thing is that Nigel has lost a bit of a support over the years because the Conservative Party got them out of the EU, and yeah, so no one cares about you now, Nigel.
Leaving politics, Nigel Farage has taken to reading out messages on camera in return for sums of cash.
Which, that sounds just like...
It's nice work if you can get it.
I mean, sounds a bit like a, streamer.
However, it has led to some real screamers for the ex-UKIP leader. This was Farage being interviewed on Irish TV earlier this week.
Why don't you ask yourselves in Dublin a question? Why did you fight the British? Why did Irish nationalists fight the British for 500 years?
800.
500 often very bloody, difficult years until the 1920s. What was the point of it?
This is fucking hilarious. Like, Britain's Independence Day. Ha 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 ha. By the way, why did you fight us? Why did you fight? We made things so difficult for you. We killed your children. We burnt your villages to the ground. We starved you all to death multiple times. But why did you fight us? I wonder why, Nigel. I wonder why. Maybe because, first of all, you invaded us. Also, Nigel, you did all those things. You starved us, and they were very bloody years. That was the whole fucking point. Jesus. Like, maybe that's why, Nigel.
If you're now governed by European commissioners.
I think people will be entertained, Nigel, to hear you
and that
talking
may be too
about
inconvenient for all of you in Dublin. Oh, I'm sure. Yes, of course.
I know.
Don't be so, condescending, little prick.
I know that you apologised for the birthday greeting which you delivered in the last couple of days, but I want people to see just how much you know about the history and culture on this island.
Now, it's a bit early in the day, so all I've got actually is coffee, but I hope you enjoy a few pints with the lads tonight. Up the Ra!
Oh, God, that's mighty. Jesus Christ, no. An English fella should know that, right? Like, the IRA did bomb England. 1920s, not as much, but, in recent history, they've done a bit of violence on English soil. Just saying. Just saying. Maybe don't, I think they're saying it, like.
Up the Ra, Nigel. I mean, I know that you said sorry. I know you get 87 quid. It's entirely within your rights to do that. But come on, don't try and lecture the Irish people about the culture and history and precarious nature of peace on this island. You haven't got a clue.
If you want to be, do you want to be an independent, democratic nation?
I mean, I have to wonder... What's Nigel's argument here? Does he want Northern Ireland to leave? Does he want Wales to leave? Does he want Scotland to leave? Does he want all those islands Britain just owns for some fucking reason to just leave England and go, fuck you, boys? Nigel told us we should be independent nations. Because that's kind of what you're doing, Nigel. Your argument for leaving the EU is apparently to be independent, but also you're... English. And maybe, I've recorded this in the past, obviously. Maybe since recording Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland rather, and all the islands have left England. But for now, they're still there. And for some of them, such as, Wales and a few Northern Ireland and, maybe a few islands, they still want to be part of it. And I think that's kind of the argument. You know?
Governed by foreign bureaucrats. That's the question that Ireland will ask itself. Those of you in the national media and national policies in Dublin will fight that as hard as you can because you've all benefited financially. Do the Irish people wish to be independent or not? And that is a debate that will happen in your country in the next few years.
That was such a good interview. Like the way she talked to him was just so pleasant to watch. For anyone who's not aware, up the Ra is a pro-IRA phrase, which someone asked Nigel Farage to say, and you can guess because he's a British nationalist, he just didn't know what up the Ra meant.
But you really should, like Maggie Thatcher, you know? Although I think a lot of British people would be glad if they'd succeeded there, to be honest. You know,
I doubt he is the kind of guy who'd endorse the IRA. Dahlia, what a great clip. What a great interview.
For me, the ultimate par was actually look, I know that you get £87 top and it's within your rights. That was just like so
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, is it within your rights? It's a bit dodgy.
Shady. But honestly, first of all, what is this website? Like, I didn't know that this is what our, pound shop fascists were resorting to make a buck these days. It's pretty embarrassing. But it's also, I mean, it's not surprising that he would go on with this kind of gall onto Irish TV and tell them, why they're fighting the British and because, if they're just going to be, and also for me, it was the most illiterate part of it was actually him just saying, you guys have benefited from being part, from the UK for so long, but from being, and it's just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. But at the end of the day, Nigel Farage has made a long and very lucrative career out of going on TV, saying...
wouldn't necessarily argue or benefited... like, it's the same as England has benefited massively. It's a very weird argument, like, yeah, you've benefited massively. So have England. So... yeah, Nigel, that's not really an argument for Ireland to stay in, because ye benefited massively, you still fucking left. So,
saying ahistorical nonsense and getting very little pushback, but actually having the red carpet rolled out for him by, big media outlets. And I also think that it's...
Well, LBC and GB News, big media outlets,
interesting the ways in which these sort of Brexit types are so opposed to other independence movements.
I mean, tens of millions invested in them, but
like Irish Unity, Scottish Independence, etc. In 2018, Nigel Farage lambasted the EU for saying that, if Ireland was united, then the north of Ireland would be welcomed into the EU. And, he lambasted...
Oh, that seems like a family where it's really dysfunctional, like the head of the family, like the EU is like the father, and they like beat the children about the place when they talk about, socialist things. Well, but
to the EU saying, oh, you're stoking Irish nationalism. And the idea that Nigel Farage, of all people, could accuse someone else of stoking nationalism is absolutely absurd. And it just goes to show how deeply English the sensibility.
But no, it's really weird because it's not like some fascists and some like conservatives or like very right-wing people are, they're not stupid, like they know low tax will benefit them. They're rich. They don't need public education. They don't need public health. They don't need any of that because they've got the money to spend it. Of course, all of these things being caught, what will that mean? Well, that'll mean the majority everyday person will die in some cases, will get a worse off education, and will be far poorer. But for them, it'll benefit them. And that's why some conservatives are not stupid people. They're just selfish and greedy, That's not necessary. As long as you can admit that, you're not being stupid, you're just being selfish and greedy. But with Farage, it appears he's just, he is just stupid, but also greedy. Like, he just can't seem to comprehend, you should leave, don't you want to be an independent nation? Oh, fuck. Oh, wait, no, because, yeah, all those nations that England has in their pocket.
of many of these high-profile Brexiteers was. We know it from the voting breakdown, particularly how Scotland and the north of Ireland voted in the referendum. But actually, the ideological framework itself is so baked in English nationalism and English exceptionalism, rather than this kind of abstract idea that every nation has a right to be sovereign. And we know that because, as the Scots and as people in the north of Ireland are trying to get independence referendums, unification referendums, which is fully within their right to do, the same people who are calling for Brexit.
I mean, it would be interesting to see an independent Northern Ireland on its own, but I don't think we could survive that. But maybe it will be a risk. I think it will be a risk to do so, because also, what currency would you use? Because if we were to separate from both Ireland and England, like an independent nation of its own, I don't know. Well, question for another day.
The basis of sovereignty are first in line to ridicule and diminish and invalidate those calls, even though I actually can't see what the difference is. The only difference is that one is actually based in historical, some independence claims are actually based in historical fact and historical reality, and others are based in delusions of colonial nostalgia.
Just reminding me, actually, your focus on the
what was that? Some stupid fucking Egypt billionaire was like, yeah, Crimea has been part of, they're American, or no, South African. So Crimea has been part of Russia since this time, and that's what happens when imperialists take over a country, you Egypt. Ireland was part of England's empire for around, roughly speaking, 800 years. So, I wouldn't argue well, they've been there for 800 years, so it's fine. Yeah, but they didn't want to be there for all of the 800 years. So no, you can't make an argument of, we had it for a long time, so it's fine now. If you rob a bank, you can't just wait 50 years and then go, oh, no, I get to keep the money now. Morally speaking, it's mine, legally. I'm allowed to say, yeah, I did rob the bank, but that was 50 years ago, so my money now. That's not how that works, So why exactly would it work with countries? Why exactly should we be able to say, oh no, it's our country now because we took it over a couple of years ago by force, so now it's fine for us to keep it because we kept it all this time by force? What?
£87 thing, and that host saying, oh, it's well within your right if you make £87 for your video. Apparently it's on Cameo. Lots of American Republicans go on there for cash as well. You can get paid to just say something. What that made me think of, though, is another video I saw recently, which is unlisted on YouTube and features Nigel Farage. It was uploaded 5 days ago, and it's announcing Nigel Farage's new project, which is to get people financial independence. So it says in the blurb that in this Fortune and Freedom program, you'll get the truth about your money behind the headlines, jargon and spin, smart ideas about how to invest from real experts whom I trust. All of this financial advice from a guy who needs 87 quid to back the IRA on camera. Are we gonna watch some of this video or show them the screen? We're going to watch some of this video. Let's have a look.
For almost 30 years, I fought a battle for us to get our independence as a country back from the European Union. It wasn't easy, but you know what? In the end, we won.
You won. You had a vote, Nigel. Actually, interestingly speaking, England as a whole, I wonder if England, on its own, voted for the would they join now? Because obviously as a union they would join the EU because of the recent voting and stuff saying that they join the EU with recent polling. But if you just focus on England, I wonder.
Well, I'm now fighting a very different battle. It's a battle for each and every one of us to have financial independence, because there are many of you out.
Isn't this one of the guys who was invest in Bitcoin? Because cryptocurrencies are definitely the safe thing when we're about to go into a recession. That's what we need, isn't it? A thing that collapses in value when people need money. Like, you know, not really. Bitcoin's not a great idea, buddy.
Out there.
You know, like, you can use Bitcoin on some websites, but until you can use Bitcoin to like pay for your energy bills, pay for like essential budget foods. Yeah, Bitcoin's always going to collapse in value when people need money. Then that's kind of what's just going to happen. It's not a good idea to invest in Bitcoin just before a financial collapse.
That have given away your savings to other people to manage who've not been happy with the way in which it's been done. So what I'm trying to do is to give people knowledge, to get them to understand how investments...
Do you trust the government? The one you were trying to get into, Nigel?
How financial markets work. You've nothing to lose by subscribing to this. You might just learn something. You might even find yourself better protected against inflation, which is now back in our economy and is not going to go away soon. So please, you can subscribe to this. It's free. All you've got to do to get a daily...
Well, I fucking hope so. Jesus Christ, now you're going to charge for it, like...
email from Fortune and Freedom is to click the link below.
Dahlia, would you take financial advice from someone who gets paid £87, who's a British nationalist, to endorse the IRA online?
A lot of people are going to get scammed, man.
In fairness now, you know, just because you get 87 quid from Cameo, like, you know, you can get a fuckload of, like, if you got a lot of people going there, like, if you charge 87, that's a quick to record. That took him, like, a minute to record. Boom, that's 87 for, like, a minute's work. That's insane. If you got loads of people, you could make, like, £1 million off that. Just easy. So I'm just saying, like, in fairness to Nigel, if you've got a lot of people going to you, you know, maybe, Michael, you know, you never know. Maybe one day you'll be on Cameo and you'll have, like, you know, like 1,000 people a day. Just like, yeah, happy birthday to Melissa. There we go. That's not the IRA. Okay, that's safe. You know, and then boom, that'll be like 80 quid. You know, because I'm just saying, it is, if you've got enough people, it can be actually an income on its own. Which I wonder, will that mean that the high
It's not cool. Not Nigel Farage joining like financial advice YouTube. That's just a dark part of the internet.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean,
you know, really, like, do not listen to financial advice on YouTube. One of the major things you'll see with financial advisors is that they often are effectively like turning you into insider trading, like, material. Like, oh no, it's not insider trading. It's just that I convinced all of these people to invest after I did. You know? That's what basically occurs. So happens a lot in the cryptocurrency area where, like, they're like, yeah, buy this cryptocurrency, and then a bunch of people really like stupidly go and they'll invest in it. And of course, what that do, that inflates value. But of course, who was the one that just invested a bunch of money before telling people to go buy it? You know, this happens a lot as well with the stock market. Massive stock inflation because of financial advisors and, you know, just buying a bunch of stock before and then telling people, go buy, and then they do because they're stupid.
Obviously, it's hilarious, and it just shows this man for what he's always been, which is a total grifter. But he's good at it. Although, is he really good at it if he's, you know, selling his soul for £87 on the internet? I don't know.
He's one of them.
That's laziness. In fairness, he could have checked that. Like, you couldn't check that message, you know. If you're making 87 quid from like a 1 minute message, you can Google what the message is just to ensure. Like, you could be saying something super racist and you wouldn't even know. I bet Nigel would be. Otherwise, probably. I bet he checks his messages now if he's still on there. You know, it's just like, yeah, say cracker.
The most effective politicians that this country has had in the last 20 years. I don't think Brexit would have happened without him. But now, yeah, he is now reading whatever you want him to say on the internet for £87. It doesn't scream success to me.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that's a little something to try to cheer up the soul. So yeah, basically that was a little something there. So yeah, do go ahead. Subscribe to Novara Media, have the bell icon on, like all the videos, all that sort of stuff. A link should be in the description. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you will go back.